2025 is here, and as I've done the last couple years, I went to you on YouTube and asked you a question about questions. What question are you looking forward to getting an answer to in 2025? We have parks making their grand debut, we have coasters about to smash records, and we have a new super chain that's proven to be unpredictable. So, there's no shortage of topics to cover. These are the burning questions we will get answers to in 2025. First, I want to thank my Patreons and my new members, Sean Kaufman and Fred B. If you want bonus access, bonus content, behind the scenes videos, a shout out when you join, and your name on this fancy Patreon screen, follow the link below and join. Like I said, I did this video last year, so let's see what questions you came up with and what the answer turned out to be. What will Hot Wheels Twin Mill Racers be like? Mattel Adventure Park was supposed to open last year, and this Chance Hyper GTX has some mystery around it. Will it just be okay, or will it be one of the better new coasters in the country? Well, we don't know. Mattel Adventure Park never opened. What will happen to Demon at Six Flags Great America? A lot of people, including me, seem to think Great America's next big coaster could spell doom for Demon. And I wasn't expecting this until their 50th anniversary in 2026. But they got their big new coaster 1 year early and they were able to spare Demon, so it should be safe for now. What will Silver Dollar City do with all their new land? This was the 836 acres near Table Rock Lake, 15 minutes from the park. And now we know it's part of a $500 million expansion plan in a brand new resort. Will we finally see a replacement for King's Dominion's volcano? Turns out, yes. For the park's 50th anniversary, they announced the launch B&M wing coaster, Raptera. What will Busch Gardens Williamsburg new project be like? We knew they were targeting Dragonfire's plot, and even considered the possibility of King's Dominion and Busch Gardens trying to outdo each other. King's Dominion went extreme, and Busch Gardens went for the family inverted coaster, Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge. The same model Busch Gardens Tampa got last year. What's going on with Dododampa? I wasn't sure if we were going to get a final answer this year, or maybe just an update, but we did get official word that Dododampa would be removed. What's Hershey going to do with Kentucky Kingdom, especially now that T3 is gone? They did announce a $25 million investment for 2025 and 2026, including 3 new family rides, a new playground, 10 rethemed rides, and upgraded dining locations. No mention of a major new coaster. By the sounds of it, it seems like that may come in 2026, but they are investing into the park. Will we see more Vekomas flood into the US? Last year, we were about to get 2 family boomerangs and the Flash at Great Adventure. I am a bit surprised to see 2025 only getting 1 new one, and that one's only kind of sort of new. Siren's Curse being moved from Energylandia to Six Flags Mexico, finally landing at Cedar Point. How will Lightning Rod's chain lift affect the ride? As cool as that launch was, the park said the train would crest the lift at the same speed using a high-speed chain. And from my 2 rides this year, I thought the first half was running a lot slower than it was in 2022. I think the chain lift ended up hurting the ride experience. Will Flash at Great Adventure be successful or a capacity mess? We never got to find out, it never opened, and that was just the beginning of Great Adventure's problems last year. What's going on with Kodaland, and will the new coasters finally open? They didn't, but they are being built finally, so it looks good to finally open this year. How will the economy affect the announcements for 2025? The economy will always affect what the parks do, but it doesn't seem like there were any announcements that were radically shaped by the economy. Let me know if you disagree, but it didn't seem like it was a big deciding factor. After the Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, what will the season passes look like? We don't have a final answer, but we did get a temporary patchwork solution for 2025, and that was a basic $100 all parks add-on, getting access to the other chain's parks, but still unable to transfer all your benefits aside from parking and admission. What does the future hold for California's Great America, and will the merger change anything? They did get rid of all the seasonal events, and this merger may push the park to close sooner than later, but we will have to see how that plays out. Will the family coaster trend continue? 2024 was big on family coasters, and we are seeing a few more coming to America. 1 to Carowinds, 1 to Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Six Flags New England is kind of a borderline family coaster, but we're also getting a good share of thrill coasters, so it's kind of a mixed bag. Will Zamperla continue their rise? Top Thrill 2 did not work out, but they did open Thunderbolt, so that was one positive. They have a few small projects in the works, but didn't score any major American coasters this year, and I think they did take a step back this year. Will Six Flags Qiddiya announce an opening date? They were expecting to open late in 2024. That got pushed as we all expected, but with a lot of the coasters being complete by now, we should see this open up at some point in 2025. Will SeaWorld continue their mass investment? It was a slower year, Orlando getting a flying theater, San Antonio and Williamsburg getting family coasters. So, for the second straight year, they haven't announced a super crazy new thrill coaster. Why is Magic Mountain removing the Golden Bear Theater? After that went down, we had a teaser for a new ride coming in 2025. That got delayed since they never said anything about it. And then, during the King to Ka press release, they said Magic Mountain was getting a first-of-its-kind coaster for North America. What's going to happen in Montezuma's Revenge? Back in March, the park did announce they were on track to have this open for 2025. We haven't heard much since then, but at least it's on track to reopen in its new form. How good will Top Thrill 2 be, and how reliable will it be? We only had 8 days to get our answer, but the consensus seems to be, the ride is outstanding, but obviously not reliable. Its failure became one of the biggest stories of the year. It took a major flub from Great Adventure to beat Top Thrill 2 as the story of 2024. Finally, the number one topic was the merger. What will be announced, and who will get the first editions? I don't think it's fair to judge those announcements on the merger. Those are probably in the works beforehand. So, Canada's Wonderland, King's Dominion, Carowinds, New England, Great America, Cedar Point, they're all getting new coasters. But I think the merger played a bigger role in the coasters getting removed. We saw a rush of old and expensive coasters being removed, all of them without any warning, which is kind of unusual, and that seems like the first real move from the new management. Okay, that was last year's set of burning questions. Let's move on to this year, based on your votes, starting with the lowest and moving up to the highest vote totals. I got almost 300 responses and I included most of them. But remember, this is only for questions that will be answered this coming year, no speculation beyond that. Will Stardust Racers be considered one of the world's best coasters? This is a long ride, it's got tons of airtime, goes upside down once on each side. Will we see this like we see Velocicoaster? Or will it not live up to that lofty standard? Will Switchback at ZDTs be sold? One of the world's most unique coasters is up for sale, and everyone wants to know where it's going to end up. They crammed this into no space, so you'd think anyone is fair game. It could go to another family entertainment center, or it could end up at Six Flags, who knows? Will Six Flags start opening their coasters on opening day like Cedar Fair does? That was always the great thing about Cedar Fair. Those coasters are open for the entire season, while Six Flags opens theirs in the middle of the summer. With Richard Zimmerman at the helm, let's see if that changes. We may not know in 2025, but 2026 for sure. How successful will those 3 modern Vekoma tilt coasters be? We haven't seen a tilt coaster since 2002, and now we have 3 in line to open. Will they be reliable? Will they be elite rides? Will we see more announced in 2026? Hardly anyone has ever ridden a tilt coaster, so this should be interesting. What does it mean that Six Flags just outright bought over Georgia? Was this done because they wanted to do something to the park? Was it purely procedural? Will we see no change at all, or will it become super obvious in the coming year? Will Steel Curtain have a full season? SNS has come in and they're reinforcing that structure. The ride was closed for 1 entire year, so let's see if this is the permanent solution they need, or if they reopen it and the same old problems rise up again. Will we see any movement on Indiana Beach's Schwarzkopf shuttle loop? This had been moved around a couple times, landing at Indiana Beach, so keep your eye on any construction or land clearing. It would be amazing to have an old-school Schwarzkopf launch back in the US. Will Fire Runner give Lost Island the boost it needs? This park is slowly improving its attendance, but for the first time since opening in 2022, it's receiving a major new addition, the RMC Raptor Fire Runner. So let's see if this will bring the park up to where it needs to be. Will Great Adventure's attendance suffer in this so-called in-between year? Yes, they're opening the Flash. That was hyped up for last year and never came. There is a big hole in the park where they tore out all those rides, getting ready for their new 2026 coaster, but until then, will the park suffer from last year's purge? How many standing but not operating coasters will reopen? This includes Desperado, Shellraiser, Superman Escape from Krypton, Leap the Dips, Steel Curtain, Hellcat, and the Kid Flash coasters. Some may reopen, some may be removed, and some may just remain in limbo for another year. What will Knoebels announce for its 100th anniversary? 2026 will be year 100 for this beloved park, and they're not big on adding new things all the time, but they are long overdue for a new coaster or a major ride, and a lot of people think 2026 would be a great time to break that streak. Will Valleyfair announce anything for its 50th anniversary? They were missing from that press release back in November, not mentioned as part of the $1 billion investment, but their 50th anniversary is coming up. Worlds of Fun got a new coaster for their 50th, so there's still hope. How will Georgia Surfer fare? This is a new Intamin water coaster, the first of its kind, and when you're talking about Intamin prototypes, that could be a dangerous game. They had a head start, delaying this from 2024, but once it gets going, let's see how reliable it is. Will Codaland and Mattel Adventure Park actually open this year? It seems like that's a yes. They've come so far in the past year, but we've thought so in the past, and it didn't work out. So, this year, will we finally get 2 new parks in the western US, a place that needs to fill a lot of gaps? Will Alpenfury open on time, and when it does open, how bad will the line be? I said this might open late, despite Cedar Fair's reputation for opening rides on opening day, and I guess they still haven't done much to get this constructed. Also, I made a video raving about this addition, but concerned about the capacity. Those 2 small premier trains, in a park as popular as this, it could make for some very nasty wait times. What does Carowinds have planned for the Nighthawk plot? It's hard to believe they'd leave this prime spot in the park empty for too long. So, it's very possible we might be looking at a replacement for 2026, and this could be the spot for that water ride they're supposed to get. What does King's Dominion have planned for Anaconda's plot? This one might be more tricky. They're getting Rapterra this year, so will they really replace Anaconda right away? I don't know, but with this merger, anything's possible. Speaking of that merger, what will that look like by the end of the year? This was the top question last year, but now we're asking it again. We've seen light integration to this point. Will we see full integration by the end of the year? 1 season pass, 1 flash pass, 1 dining pass. Pretty much 0 separation between the chains anymore. And of course, how much money will it cost to get all those perks across 26 parks? How good will Epic Universe be, and will it live up to the hype? This place looks incredible. State-of-the-art attractions, 4 roller coasters, no expense spared. Will this have a smooth first year, and will this be considered one of America's top parks by the end of the year? What will replace Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket? Up the road from Epic Universe, we have a coaster that will be shut down in September. That's pretty late in the season to expect something new to open in 2026. But we may find out what that something is. Right now, it looks like an Intamin coaster. How late will Siren's Curse open? We already know it's not going to open with the park. They're targeting early summer, so right off the bat, they're behind. Then you have to factor in any problems that may arise, and with Cedar Point's short operating season, let's see if Siren's Curse can be open for at least half of it. Will Falcon's Flight be reliable and live up to the hype? The world's tallest and fastest and longest coaster is finally set to open next year, and just about everyone is skeptical about it. It seems too big to be true, a possible maintenance nightmare, and nobody knows how this is going to run. Also, when it opens, will it actually be a good ride? Will it have good forces, or will it just be a giant bore, kind of like how people feel about Steel Dragon 2000? I hope some YouTuber goes out to Saudi Arabia and rides it so we can all find out. Okay, let's go over the top 5 vote getters. Number 5. Will Six Flags sell or close a park, as they said they would? I figured before they acquired a new park, they'd trim down their mega chain and get rid of parks they don't find to be profitable. Back in November, this was announced as part of their strategy, so now we just have to sit back and wait to find out which parks. Number 4. Will B&M's new coasters have the same rattle the new ones had last year? I rode Iron Menace. It was a shaky mess, and by most accounts, so was Penguin Trek and Phoenix Rising. This year, we have Wrath of Rakshasa and Rapterra and Big Bad Wolf opening in the US, and we all want to know if this newfound B&M rattle will carry on to 2025. Number 3. Will Top Thrill 2 have a full year of operation? After 8 days in 2024, it can really only go up from here, short of not opening at all, and I don't think that's going to happen. The real question is, once this gets going, will all of Zamperla's fixes hold up, and can this stay open from May to October? It will go down like any other coaster would, but at the end of the year, will we look back at Top Thrill 2 and say, that was a good season, or will we say, that was an utter disaster? Number 2. What will all those mystery Six Flags 2026 editions be? When King Ka closed, Six Flags talked about everything coming in 2026. Some of it was self-explanatory. Knott's is getting work on its water park, Mexico is getting a family boomerang, Great America is getting a new kids area and celebrating their 50th anniversary. But the rest of it leaves a lot to the imagination. Carowinds is getting a record-breaking water ride, and Canada's Wonderland is getting a record-breaking water attraction, whatever that means. Kings Island is getting a new family thrill attraction. Is that a ride, a coaster, or what? And then we got the mystery coasters. Magic Mountain is getting a first-of-its-kind coaster in North America. Is this an Axis, a Mach Striker, some kind of a Coma? Who knows? Over Texas is getting a record-breaking dive coaster. Will this be 300 feet, or will it set some other record? And finally, Great Adventure is getting some kind of multi-record breaking launch coaster replacing King Ka. Of course, we all want to know, what record will it break? Will it be a legit record, or will it be cheap and overly specific? Because of this teaser, it adds so much more intrigue to the season. Number 1. What is next on the Six Flags chopping block? This got by far the most votes, and why not? It's what's on everyone's mind. They lowered that axe at the end of the 2024 season, and there's no reason to believe more coasters won't be shut down over the next 12 months. So many of you had specific coasters you were concerned about. The Flash at Discovery Kingdom, X2 and Viper and Superman at Magic Mountain, Accelerator at Knott's, Mr. Freeze at Over Texas and St. Louis, Time Warp and Flight Deck at Canada's Wonderland, Batwing at Six Flags America, American Eagle and Whizzer at Great America, Bat and Invertigo at Kings Island. At this point, anything is possible, some coasters obviously in more danger than others, and we're all at the edge of our seat waiting for that next demo permit to be found. Because, after all, Six Flags doesn't tell us when they close rides, we have to find that out for ourselves. We will also see if that trend continues, or if they go back to warning us and letting us have our last rides like they used to. That's a wrap on this year's burning questions. I'll be back a year from now to answer all these, as well as ask you what burning questions you have in 2026. Thank you once again for all your great responses and making this video possible. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. Also, check out my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.